Hello, everybody, and welcome to our podcast, Welcome to Livingston, where we invite local businesses, people, and organizations in to talk about what they are giving to our community. My name is Don Paquette.
And I'm Angela Paquette, and we're with the Paquette Group Real Estate Professionals. As realtors and brokerage owners, we bring valuable insight into the local market and community every week.
Thanks for listening, and welcome to Livingston. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Welcome to Livingston podcast, where we talk about all things local, have local businesses on. My name is Don Paquette.
And I'm Angela Paquette, and we're with the Paquette Group Real Estate Group.
Yeah, so we are super excited about today's episode, but before we get started, I wanted to put in a word from our sponsor. Today's episode of the Welcome to Livingston podcast is brought to you by our valued sponsor, Jim Paquette, with Lake Michigan Credit Union. He is a trusted mortgage lender who has lived and worked in our community for many years. Jim Paquette is dedicated to helping our neighbors achieve their homeownership dreams and is proud to support the local businesses that make our area special. Now let's dive into the stories of this incredible entrepreneur that we are so excited to feature today.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. This is one that's near and dear to my heart because it's a group that I've been involved in for many years. But we are also doing a first here by pulling him in remote.
Yes.
So he's not in the studio with us, but we'd like to still welcome Steven Zyskowski for joining us today. Hi, Steven.
Well, thank you so much. I am so honored and have been excited for this. Just because, Angela, I love you so much. You do such a great job in your Caerusnet group. And Don, I've only met you a couple times, but you leave a favorable impression. And I can tell you guys are just a phenomenal team together. Just really, it's wonderful to work with you.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thanks. So you're like kind of the brains and founder of Caerusnet then, right?
Yeah. So Caerusnet, just for those tuning in, if you're a small business person or you've ever fantasized about, starting your own business and becoming a local business and affecting your community, at some point along the way, people are going to ask you, hey, how do you get business? Do you do any networking, that sort of stuff? And that's where I kind of come into the scene because, networking, the concept of networking, it can be as simple as just meeting up with a group of people for a coffee and keeping it real informal. It can be super duper structured and over the top, like a BNI, every single week for an hour and a half. And I'm kind of the Goldilocks scenario, in that I run facilitated referral, professionally facilitated referral teams for amazing professionals like yourself that really, you really value your client experience. Your client experience is everything to you. And part of how you're able to cement those relationships is by inquiring what other things are going on in your life. I'm excited we're closing on your house in a week, but what other things do you need? What else can I help you with? Right. And just learning to deal with clients at that relationship level. And so that's what we do at Caerusnet. We surround ourselves with like-hearted and like-minded professionals, like-minded from the standpoint, we all want to grow our business. We appreciate referrals. Like-hearted from the standpoint that we want to love our clients. We want our clients to love us. We want to expand our client family. You can only do that if you're authentic.
Absolutely. And you do
100%.
such a great job of vetting everybody. It really has become a family. Everybody supports one another, not just professionally, but personally, but just those connections, honest to goodness. And then you teach us all along the way, sort of this know, like, and trust concept and the meaning of referrals and networking and so forth is really phenomenal. So in terms of our group is very Livingston County based. When I joined personally, it was because I wanted to find some really great, other referral partners in terms of people that we could recommend to our clients, like you said. So this group has actually been such a wonderful blessing to me and giving me people that I can trust, recommend to our clients. And so, Steve, you do such a great job vetting people and so forth. And why don't you tell us a little bit more about how this idea even got started in terms of how long have you been doing Caerusnet and where did the idea come from?
Well, I appreciate you asking. And if I was still doing what I was doing back when I, started networking, maybe I would have been your sponsor for this show instead of the gentleman over at the credit union. So I used to own a mortgage company in Brighton, and like you two, I wanted to build my business by referral. I wanted to be working with people that came to me as warm referrals. And also, I wanted to build a relationship with my clients, knowing that if I delivered a great experience for them, that maybe they would take recommendations, that they meet with other professionals in the community, for financial advising or estate planning or whatever else. So a friend of mine that I was just beginning a relationship with invited me to visit a networking group that they were starting. It was a BNI. I'd never heard of it before. He told me all about it, and he was one of like 5 people getting the group started. And I was off to the races, helping that group grow. And it was a great experience for me. I absolutely loved sharing my clients with awesome people. And also because I was so good at sharing my clients with everybody else, my phone was ringing for mortgages. I didn't have to try to sell those. So it was a great experience for me. And then, of course, if you went through 2007 and 8 and the financial collapse, the mortgage company wasn't meant to be. But Caerusnet was. What I really loved most about the mortgage company was being connected in the community and creating great relationships and referrals. And now I found myself in a situation where I could do that with 100% of my time, as opposed to making it a tactic in my mortgage company. So it's been a blessing.
That makes sense. No, that's wonderful. And it's amazing the paths that these things take us on.
Yes, and it's been from the outside. Angela goes to the Caerusnet and does all of that and that. But I've met so many great businesses through that we've been able to connect with, refer our clients to, and then use personally. And it's just so great because with them being vetted and you having an idea of it going into it, that it's going to be a good connection, which is one of the best things about it.
And it's interesting because we have our own little group that meets effectively maybe every other week, right? And in terms of those individuals, if there's someone that's not in our group, but I still need a referral, I don't know if you realize this, but I go to your website and I look up who belongs to another group that might serve that need. And so I'm able to feel confident in the individuals that you have.
Yeah, thank you. There is a great process for me getting to know a new member who is interested in being a part of a group because everybody's coming in from a different perspective, a different understanding of how this sort of thing is going to work. And, one of the things that I really try to do is help a person understand that this is a journey. It's not a destination. It's constantly learning, developing your skill set, building relationships, letting those relationships season, right? So,
Yeah.
a lot of this is like farming, right? It's like if you're planting seeds all the time by going to your referral team meeting. But in between planting seeds, what else do you have to do? You got to water them, right? You've got to take good care of them, maybe even talk to them a little bit so they can become a beautiful harvest for you at some point, right? So I think that the Caerusnet people, again, like-minded, like-hearted, and I think that that's just you can feel the vibe. Like even if it's on
Yeah.
Zoom or if it's a member breakfast, you can just feel the vibe. You're surrounded by people that are out there doing good, which is a darn good thing to be hearing about in today's world.
Yes. Positivity,
100%.
right?
Yeah.
Lots of positivity.
Yep. And one of
Yes,
the
yeah.
things I did want to ask you about is for people out there that don't know, when you join one of these groups, you're the sole person in that field, right? So you're not competing with someone else within your group.
Yeah. I think it would be. I think a lot of feelings would get hurt and a lot of controversy would happen on a team if there were 5 real estate agents on the team. And who are you going to pick to do business with? Because ultimately, people don't have to work with you at all, even being the only real estate agent on the team. It's always up to you to be giving everybody reasons why they should see you as the consummate professional, right?
Right.
Always sharing those success stories, giving and giving and giving. And what happens is you just kind of you melt away at people a little bit, and they go, man, I love this gal. She shows up all the time with a great personality. If I hear my neighbors thinking about moving, if I've got a friend or family that's moving into the area, I'm going to bat for Angela because she really seems to be present for everybody else, right? And that's just a big part of this. It's I really try to do a good job being sure that if people are joining a group, that they don't come into a group trying to sell people their products and services, because that can be a real put off too, because you joined a group to get to know other businesses that you can refer to your clients, and you want to refer them when the time is right. The last thing you want somebody to do is to say, hey, join my team of selling shakes or this or the other thing, right? You want to have people that are also professional in every single field that they're in.
Exactly. No, it's
And
brilliant.
the funny thing too, Angela, is that this can apply to all different types of businesses. It can be, people like yourself in real estate. It can be people in the world of fitness and health and wellness. But it can even be something as neat as a candle maker, just like the candle maker you guys had on your show recently.
Yeah.
So really it just depends on the business. I try to help them strategize having success in Caerusnet so they don't feel like they're going it alone.
Yeah, no, you really played a huge support within our group, and I think that you really set the bar high because you come in offering value to all of us in our group, and I'm sure all of your groups, and so everyone else wants to come in with value as well. So it's just really positive.
Another interesting thing too is that a little over 3 years ago, after living in Michigan for my entire life, 51 years, most of it in Livingston County. Uh, yeah, I moved to Arizona. I was just, God blessed me with perfect timing. Interest rates were ridiculously low, and homes were kind of ahead of that curve of taking off and going into outer space. And so I really feel like I've got to be one of the best networkers in Michigan that doesn't live there, because I create more referrals. And honestly, a lot of people ask me when I moved to Arizona, Steve, are you going to start Caerusnet in Arizona? I can only start this where my heart is what it boils down to. Because you could imagine, you look at today and it looks like, oh, he's so successful. He's got all these groups with all these people on it. Well, that came through a decade of no's and rejection and everything else, right? So my heart is in Michigan. My kids are in Michigan. My business, for all intents and purposes, is in Michigan. Even though I move somewhere that doesn't observe the time zone change, I still have to deal with it with Michigan. I'm either up at 4 in the morning or at 5 in the morning to get ready for my early morning meetings. But hey, I'm ready to network 24 hours a day. I don't care what time it is.
That's so amazing.
Yeah. So you're on that cutting edge of working remotely there.
Yeah, you know what? Because I've worked for myself most of my life. I don't need anybody to tell me what to do or what's important or what my priorities should be. I mean, the big stuff gets done all the time. It always will. So I can manage this. But as you know, you've seen a lot of people, I'm sure, in your industry that they just weren't self-motivated. They didn't have the right checkdowns, the things that you need to do to stay healthy, and then also that marathon mentality, right? Can you do this for
Right.
5 years? Can you do this for 10 years? What about
Right.
20? You got to pace
Yeah,
yourself.
Yeah.
exactly. Each day, you wake up and you have to have drive to be an entrepreneur. But it's exciting to see so many people getting into entrepreneurship and to be able to network with those, again, like-minded entrepreneurs.
Right. And we've
Yeah.
had a number of Caerusnet
Members
members.
on as guests.
Yes, and to see the individual growth of the different companies and the growth of the person within that is
Yeah.
great to see, because you can really see it as they go through that being part of a networking group where they have like-minded people, that they feed off of each other, and that grows, and it grows their self-confidence
Yes.
to be putting themselves out there, because being an entrepreneur, a lot of that is having the self-confidence to put yourself out there.
Right. So generally speaking, to the audience, the neat part is that it's done over Zoom. So, we have people that, house cleaner and landscaper and all that they actually are right there on their phone, on their Zoom for our meeting, as well as other individuals. And personally, I find it more convenient because I don't have to be running out to go someplace physically. I'm just able to queue it up on my laptop, and we do it over Zoom. And you do a really nice job to keep everything structured, keep it on track, keep it within time frame. And I think that's
Yeah,
kind of remarkable.
thank
So
you.
was that
That's
from the pandemic, or did you originally start in person?
It was an in-person business for the first 12 years I did it. I used to drive to Brighton a few times each week and set up over at the Lions Club over there down by the railroad tracks. That was a meeting location. We used to do them over at the Brighton Equestrian Club in Ann Arbor. I used to run them out of a Hampton Inn in Canton. It was at the municipal offices. And yes, I got in my car. I had banners, I had flyers, I had handouts at the meetings, name badges. It was a real production. And here's what I find after doing it now on Zoom since 2020. It's a community. Caerusnet is a community, and what I've found is that there were a lot of people that visited my teams when I did them in person, and they're like, "Geez, Steve, I really like this meeting. I like all the businesses that are in here, but I don't know how I can carve out 30 hours a year of driving somewhere and doing this because 1 hour becomes 2 hours or 3 hours with you know, schmoozing and small talk and so on and so forth. I never intended this to be somebody's entire morning or entire afternoon. I intended this to be something that they can fit in like an appointment. And now on Zoom, we record the spotlight presenters, and there's so many great things that happen communications wise that keep us really tight. And of course, the members of these teams, you guys, everybody loves to be able to meet in person when you can to do a trust builder
Yeah.
or some of our events that we do in person. It's almost over the top. Bringing people together that you've seen on a screen for the most amount of time. So, but people do refer each other. I mean, my inbox every day gets hit with referrals from one member passing to another member, and that's what this whole thing is about for me: is seeing people sharing each other, improving their client relationships, building goodwill, reciprocity. This is the stuff that businesses have been doing for hundreds and hundreds of years. And
Yeah.
yes, we have technology now, but that doesn't change anything. We're still human beings. We still need to be appreciated. We still need to share. We still need to feel valued. And that's really what Cirrusnet's about.
So
Absolutely.
good.
No, it is wonderful.
Yeah, and I know for people listening out there that might not know, I know you do a lot of trust builders.
Yeah.
That trust builders is an important aspect of that.
And so what that is, it's kind of meeting one-on-one with individual members of the group at a different time to get to know them, get to know their business, and really be able to connect on a personal level. So we still have opportunities to do things in person at our convenience and when it works in. And then there's the big member breakfast. So that's fantastic. There's other different events. There's a golf outing every year. There's a lot of these different things. So it seems like you've really, like you said, with the Goldilocks effect, gotten the best of all worlds. So in terms of people that are out there listening, because we do have a lot of small businesses that listen in on our podcast, Steve, can you let them know in terms of, what types of businesses is Caerusnet good for?
Yeah, thank you. It's any business that I would consider to be kind of a local Main Street America type business, right? A business that is hoping that they're going to take such good care of their customers that their customers will want to promote them and talk about the great experience they had. So it's businesses that really count on that word of mouth reputation. And the nice thing is that we teach our Cirrusnet members how to ask our own customers for referrals in a way that doesn't seem standoffish or awkward or pushy, doing it in a way that just seems conversational and nice. So I think that the reality is that any small business that appreciates referrals, that's looking to improve their own client relationships. Like for myself, when I'm meeting a new business, I ask them, okay, hey, we talked about the networking group. I've got you scheduled to come and visit a team. what other things are going on in your business? What other areas are you focusing on that you need help with? And it's fun when you ask questions like that to people. It's amazing what comes out of it. So, it can be anything from a home remodeling company to an electrician, to an estate planning attorney, to a website designer, to a candle maker, to people that do stretching, fitness. I mean, you name it. Acupuncture, uh, especially if you're a business that might require somebody else to recommend you properly. Like think about Carol Kramer from soon to
Yeah.
be Livingston Acupuncture. When somebody can say, hey, you've been dealing with this issue for a long time. Have you ever thought about acupuncture? And hey, I know somebody that I think would do incredible work with you. It's wonderful to be able to be a connector for others and then see it come back full circle.
Absolutely. 'Cause like I said, it feels like a family, so we're all looking
Yes.
out for one another, and that's powerful.
Yeah, it
Yes.
And
is.
even people that moved on and just didn't really have time to still engage, it's nice because we created those relationships. So it
Yeah,
made
well,
a big difference.
yeah, just a two-second thing too, Angela. I always remember how everybody comes into Caerusnet. There isn't one member that I don't know who referred them and how the whole thing happened. So I remember when you were visiting our team because we had a rare opening for a real estate agent, and there were a few real estate agents that wanted that spot. But I could really tell, Angela, the like-hearted, the like-minded. You attended a few meetings, you attended an in-person get-together, and I just thought to myself, here's a person that's really showing me and showing this group how much they want to be a part of this family. And then you refer in the house cleaning company, and you've referred in others, and when appropriate, you use other people's services. So you're a big part of that family, and I really appreciate all you do.
You're welcome. It means a
Yes.
lot.
Yep.
It's really a very special group, and it's exciting to share with our listeners because I think that there's those out there that aren't even aware of this that really could be a great, great resource to them.
Well, and I look at it in terms of like even, when you're out there looking for a service, you can go online and you can Google it, right? But you never know what you're going to be getting when you contact that person.
Right.
And one of the biggest ones for auto repair, I know he's not part of the group anymore, but Brett,
Wow. You do great, right?
what? Yes.
We used him so many times, even though he ended up not having time to stay in the
But
group.
there's so many of them that like they're my trusted person now for that.
Right.
Because of that connection. And I'm going to refer that person to other people regardless because of the service that they've given. And we wouldn't have made that connection if not for Caerusnet.
Right. Oh, exactly. It's really makes a huge difference, I think.
And
And
friendships too.
yes, exactly. But especially any of those small businesses out there, definitely spread the word. Caerusnet is such a great, great group.
Thank you. And I think also, I think it's because we have structure. We've got a 1 hour meeting that accomplishes a lot. So much comes through that 1 hour meeting. We're not a kumbaya group that just sits around and hold hands and says nice things to each other. We're doing business and we're saying nice things to each other. So, and if you are listening to this and you'd like to visit a CirrusNet team, just hit up Don or Angela. They'll direct you to me, and I'd love to meet you. So I really appreciate the opportunity to give our network some exposure. And again, my heart is in Livingston. I've listened to so many of your podcasts. It's been a joy.
Well, thank you.
Thanks. It's been a pleasure to do. And it's something, that we ended up starting after belonging to Caerusnet, just because we've connected to so many great small businesses that it's been a pleasure to feature them on this particular podcast. And like I said, so many people from our group that we've had on over the years.
Yep.
And it's really nice to lift up those small businesses that don't have big advertising budgets to get the word out because they are so exceptional.
Right. Yeah. So did you want to ask
Yeah.
your question that you ask every week?
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I try to when I can work it in. Steve, what do you like best about Livingston? What do you
Oh
miss
my
the most?
goodness. Yeah. So there are so many places, especially in Livingston County, that are like a Norman Rockwell painting.
Yeah.
Just full of life and family. It's clean. You don't ever worry about looking over your shoulder and who's standing in the shadows. It's just one of the safest, most family oriented. Yeah, I spent most of my life there. I mean, my heart beats a little extra fast when I'm in Brighton or Howell. It's just so beautiful, so beautiful. Those downtowns are treasures. And then the other thing, what do I like best about Livingston, is the people. It is truly, you guys have said this before, and I back you up 1,000%. Livingston County is a community that rallies behind each other. And not every community across this country has the same stuff that Livingston County does. I can say that personally. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
Very
No,
cool.
that's the truth. Honest to goodness, you
Yeah.
wrapped it up in a nutshell. Livingston County is so amazing.
It is so amazing. Yeah, and I'm happy to see, all the new things that are going on in the community and such. You're going to have to get out here during the winter. Next winter, there's going to be a outdoor ice rink in Howell that they're starting on, which is amazing.
Bet you've missed snow.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I will mention the snow shovel did not make it onto the moving truck. When we
There
moved.
you go.
Good for you. Oh, that's so awesome. But it's neat because you have such a connection to this county, more so than even some people that live in it, So
Yes.
it's and I think an appreciation for it too.
Yep.
I do. It's a wonderful place. My heart is there. Trust me.
Wonderful.
No doubt. Good. Well, I know we've had a little bit of technical difficulties here and there, but I think we, probably were able to edit through some of the things. But I'm glad that you were able to join us today. This is like I said, it's our first remote.
Our first remote. So for our first remote, I think it went pretty good. Well, we thank you so much for being with us today. Anyone out there, again, please reach out to us. We would love to connect you with Steve to get you to visit one of his groups. It is an amazing group. I am not in it myself. I've come to a few of the events, but I'm at the desk across the room, and I get to hear what she's talking about every week. And
He recognizes the voices.
I
It's pretty
recognize
cute.
the voices.
He's
Yeah,
like,
I've
what
met a
was
lot.
so-and-so saying about, oh, yeah.
Well, one of the beautiful things about that is that, Angela's on a team, but Don's taken the team with him too when he's out there because he
Yeah.
knows who's on the team. He's part of those special relationships too. So I love it when, other people from the same enterprise get exposure to the team as well too. It just makes everybody better.
Yeah,
Yes.
it really does.
It does.
Makes a big difference.
Oh.
So great. Well, it was so nice meeting with you today, Steve, and I'm so glad that we were able to get you on. So we appreciate you taking the time and calling in and being part of this.
Yeah, and enjoy that wonderful weather out there, and as we get into fall, right?
Yeah. Oh, thank
Yeah, and if and this invitation goes out there to you guys. If you're ever wanting to do Southern Arizona and do some amazing hikes, I can get you up at about 12,000 feet, and the view's amazing. So, and the invitation is open.
Awesome.
thank you.
Awesome. Well, we might have to work that into things as the kids' schedules wind down.
Yep.
So great. Well, hey, thank you so much, Steve. We really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, and
Welcome to Livingston.